Well, it's official. The 2023 to 2024 NBA season is officially wrapped, and the Boston Celtics are the NBA champions after they defeated the Dallas Mavericks in Game 5 with a final score of 106 to 88. A lot of people are going to spin this negatively and focus on Luka and Kyrie not performing up to their usual standards, but the truth is, this Boston defense is just incredible. And there's not just one or two players specifically that you can point to, but it's the entire team. It's the way they work together, it's the way they do their rotations, it's the way they communicate. Dallas has faced plenty of great teams throughout the West playoffs, but they were never able to get their groove, and they had very few instances where both their stars and their role players were clicking simultaneously. Boston can have night after night where they only had half of their guys show up and they were still dominating games. That's how deep and well-rounded this team is. I have been critical of Jason Kidd throughout these playoffs, and that continues as I was a little bit confused as to why the Mavericks were settling for too many jumpers early on, which is the complete opposite of what they were doing in Game 4. Once they got back to attacking the rim in the second quarter, they started cutting into that lead and gaining momentum. The Mavericks are at their best when they play an inside-out game. They need to establish their offense by being aggressive at the rim and have that start to open up their perimeter jumpers. They got away from that once again, and their lead started to dwindle away. There's so much to talk about, and you gotta give credit to so many Boston players. For one, I'm happy to see Al Horford finally get his ring. Obviously, I'm a Lakers fan. I did not want to see the Celtics win the championship and go up in that individual matchup 18 rings to 17 rings. But I'm trying to focus on the silver lining and stay positive in this video, and Al Horford is one of those. At 38 years old, he's been in the NBA for so long, and he's been on many contending teams. But now, he finally got that ring, and it's nice to see his career get that cherry on top. Kristaps Porzingis also needs a shout out. So many people like to talk about how the modern NBA is full of softer players, guys that don't know how to play through injury, guys who just load manage, yada yada yada. And although that might be true in many cases, Porzingis demonstrated that he's one of the tough players that you just can't critique. He wasn't his usual self, clearly, but he was massively impactful and helped protect that rim. His presence is certainly felt, and you could see that in tonight's game. Now, one of the more controversial aspects that people are going to be talking about is the Finals MVP. It went to Jaylen Brown. In Game 5, Jason Tatum had 31 points, 11 assists, and 8 rebounds on 11 of 24 shooting. Jaylen Brown had 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists on 7 of 23 shooting. For this reason, this final lasting impression may lead many people to say that Jason Tatum should have been the Finals MVP. But when you consider the context of the series, Jaylen Brown was better when it truly mattered, and he was fantastic on both ends of the court. He especially stood out defensively more so than Tatum. And it really seemed like towards the end of this Game 5, Tatum was getting buckets late, and maybe he was even intentionally trying to pad his stats to help his Finals MVP chances. I don't know that for sure, but that's at least what it looked like for certain stretches. This was easily Tatum's best game of the series, but for the most part, he was just way below his efficiency standards, as he shot 39% over the course of the entire series. If they had given Jason Tatum the Finals MVP, then his field goal percentage would have made him the least efficient Finals MVP in the history of the NBA. As a fun fact, Kobe Bryant in 2010 was the least efficient Finals MVP in NBA history. And second behind him was Michael Jordan in 1996. So it's not like he'd be in all that bad company. I do think this Finals MVP will be a topic of debate for many years for basketball nerds. But as for myself personally, I think they got it right. So let's steer this conversation to the Celtics as a whole. I've already seen people claiming in my comments that this Celtics team is the best championship team that Boston has ever had. And to me, that does sound a little crazy, but I gotta give them credit. There is a bit of an argument there. I think there's an interesting conversation between them and the 2008 Boston Celtics. But for me, the 1986 Celtics are still the best team Boston's ever had. They had the greater star player, they had the better regular season record, and they faced greater competition. Now, these 2024 Celtics did have a 64-18 record throughout the regular season, and they went 16-3 throughout the playoffs. And I get it, much of the Eastern Conference wasn't healthy. But still, you can only beat who's in front of you, and again, many people were singing the praises of these Mavericks heading into the NBA Finals. And now everyone wants to change their tune and act like they were never that good all along. And my argument is that they were that good, but the defense of these Celtics were just that great. I think people's biases are going to swing to both sides. Some are going to say that it's recency bias and that we're only saying they're among the greatest Boston Celtic teams because this just happened. Those type of fans are never going to give this team credit that they're due. But then you have the other type of fans who have only seen this championship Celtics team or the 2008 Celtics and are going to immediately crown them as the cream of the crop. I'm interested to hear your guys' opinions in the comments section below. Where do you think these 2024 Celtics rank among the greatest Boston Celtics teams of all time? Now, like I said before, I'm a Lakers fan. I was rooting so hard for the Dallas Mavericks, and it has been a rough week after the passing of Jerry West, after our coaching position is getting passed up by Dan Hurley, and now the Celtics lead us into overall championships. It has been rough. But again, as a general basketball fan, I'm trying to focus on the silver lining. And what I do think is cool about this Celtics team is what it has to say about the health of the NBA at this moment. This Celtics team is not a super team. This is a team that was built organically through the NBA draft. It's not a collection of a bunch of superstar free agents who all decided to join on the same team at the same time and just dominate. No, this is a product of good management, and it's a product of an era filled with parity. So far in the 2020s, we haven't had any back-to-back champions. And now we have this team that doesn't have a superstar player averaging 35 points in the NBA Finals. But instead, it's just a well-rounded group with veteran experience, high basketball IQ, great defense, and plenty of talent. This was simply the best basketball team throughout the year, whether or not many of us recognized it. It's team-oriented basketball. And in that sense, I think it's a good time to be an NBA fan, because the 2010s were rough for many of us, as most of us were really sick of the super team era. But now with recent champions, like these Boston Celtics, like the Denver Nuggets last year with only one legitimate superstar, and then the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson without Kevin Durant, I think it's nice to see. So whether or not Mavericks fans or Lakers fans are happy at the moment, I do think it's a good time to be an NBA fan because this has been a good decade of competitive, honest basketball. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics and Celtics fans, you guys have earned it. Now that the season's wrapped up, I think I'm going to get back to some of my more traditional scripted videos. Every once in a while, I'll start doing these off-the-cuff, unscripted videos, but they're going to start to be more rare. But I do appreciate the feedback. My family just went through a massive move where we went halfway across the country. So I really do appreciate you guys vibing with this new style and this new approach. But like I said, my passion is basketball history, is scripted content, so that's what you'll be seeing moving forward. Again, let me know in the comments section below, where does this Boston team rank? And who should have been the finals MVP, Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.